Alright, so in this clip we're gonna see how the UV layouts are done for each object. So we are really aware how to work with them when we go to Substance Painter. So I will start by the trunk. I will just select our trunk group here and I will just visualize that one. So I will go here to my UV layout and let me actually select all these objects here. And what I did here is basically, let me expand this a little bit. I create some basic objects, so every object should be using different type of UVs. So one thing that is really important when we work between Substance, Maya and RenderMan is to lay out this properly. So most of the cases you want to keep the same resolution for all the objects, but since this is a very complex object, I basically went and create a specific layout for each one of the objects, and then when we work on Substance Painter, we are gonna basically work against that so we can define the resolution of our texture when we are on Substance. For now, what it is important for you to know is that you explore a little bit what this is going on. So for instance, this object has this enormous layout, which are gonna give us a little more or better resolution for our object. Now let me just basically go back to our objects and I wanna show you what's the bulbs looking at this moment. So let me just go and expose that one here. So alright, so I did something similar for this one. I know that one thing that will be really challenging about the bulb is going to be working with this glass material. So here, the important thing that you need to know is that these are the two different faces, or the interior and exterior of this glass. Because if you hit 4 on your keyboard, you will see that this is a two-side polygon. So it has a little bit of thickness here. All right, so that's that. And the other thing I did for this one is that instead of working with so many little objects, I'll merge all the objects. So for instance, I got the cord and I got the base of the objects. So in the same way as the trunk, this all has different resolutions for the UVs, and that's something that we have to be aware when we go to Substance Painter. So now let me close that one up. I will go back here and bring back all of our objects, and the one I want to show you before we wrap up this clip is going to be the gramophone. So when you go to the gramophone, you will notice, let me select it again, that we have different UV layouts. So this is because we're working basically with UDIM. So with UDIMs, what you want to do and keep in mind is that each one of these squares here are basically a different texture set. And one important thing for this specific object, and let me show you right now here, I would just isolate that one, and I will go and click on UV shell. So this will allow us to basically select each part of the object that we want, basically the layout shell that we want to use, or the UV layout shell that we want to use. So in this particular case, as you can tell, all this cone here is going to be the same texture. You can tell it here. Then the same thing for all this base of the gramophone or this plate here. So I try to keep every single part that has different type of material in a different UV layout tile. And this is because basically what we want to do is be able to bring this as a UDIM object to Substance Painter and paint one singular texture or set of textures, depending on the channels, to each one of the materials of this object, but just apply one single material. So I will stop this here and continue with the course in the next clip.